to load up for a second. Sometimes it takes up to 15 seconds. I might sneeze. Alright. Much better. I'm sorry, I do cry a lot. I have to apologize because you'll treat me like I'm a horrible person if I don't. But I need something to blow my nose. Here's why men need to stop working. You can't go to work safely. At any point in time, if your eye is caught by a fly in the building, or a butterfly, or pretty much anything in your environment, and there's a woman standing anywhere near it, you can lose your job if she's offended by it. If a woman drops her purse, or her wallet, or her ID, or her money, and you say, "Excuse me, ma'am," well, there's a chance that she might start freaking out and yelling at you. And then go to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and pretend that you're some sort of a horrible person. You have to worry about going to work, because women will do this at work too. Or they'll create sexual drama that isn't there when it's a men's only environment. Unless those men are gay. When you've got a bunch of straight men in a working environment, they tend to focus on the work more than fucking around. Now, you guys see in the movies how construction workers like to fuck around. Well, they do after work, but you don't have time to fuck around at work. You know, maybe one little joke here or there, but for the most part, you're busy working. It's manual labor, it's strenuous. You got to pay attention to numbers, even though men are supposedly dumb. We got to pay attention to these numbers and the tape measures and learn a different type of measuring system than what you learned in school. But building things is labor intensive. And that's the primary job that men get. And then, of course, when it comes to dating women or expectations from women, we're expected to do favors for free or for next to nothing. There's a lot of women out there who have learned that they can use sex or the idea of sex to try to manipulate people into doing things. Well, that doesn't work on me. The reason it doesn't work on me is because if you need the help, you need the help. If it goes against my morality, I'm not going to do it, even if you touch my winky. And if you do touch my winky, it's unfortunate that I can't turn you in for sexually assaulting me. Man, it's to the point that you can't go to the gym without a woman trying to record what pigs you are on YouTube or Facebook. So now you have to be afraid that if there's a woman in your gym and she's having issues, even if you ask, or even if she asks for your help, you have to be afraid to help her. You have to hope that there's a woman in the facility who's willing to help her, or you have to let her be injured, because you're not going to be able to touch her without getting close. You have to be afraid that if you go to the gym, that there's a woman who's going to try to make you out to be some sort of predatory stalker, because you glanced her direction to see the clock. Or you notice that she's doing something that's probably going to get her hurt with the weights. You think I want to be stuck in public? Meanwhile, when these women are wearing the closest tight-fitting outfits that they possibly can, the absolute most pop out of a crowd, stare at me fucking costume. I gotta say costume. I have to. How many of y'all wear a bright red dress on a daily basis? Is that a daily basis thing, or is that a... Is that a just when you want to get looked at thing? Do you dress up like a slutty schoolgirl? Isn't that gross? That's the definition of that look. The one where you're wearing a short pleated skirt. And then, of course, a white shirt. Sometimes a tie or a bow tie. But sometimes it's you unbutton the shirt and you tie it into a knot at the bottom. Make sure your bright red brassiere is sticking out all Britney Spears style. Meanwhile, the only people who that is actually going to appeal to are pedophiles. I can't get into the mind of a pedophile. They make absolutely no fucking sense to me. The rest of y'all make sense to me. You're short fucking sighted, greedy, and selfish. You're a bunch of pathetic losers who only care about yourselves, and that's what makes you such pathetic losers. You want to give advice for situations you're not in, and then when you get into a situation like that, all the advice that you give others goes right out the window for you, don't it? Yeah. Men, you cannot say, "Excuse me, ma'am," if a woman drops her fucking wallet in a parking lot from 30 feet away. Especially if she's not, or especially if she's wearing a bright red dress and has her son with her. If you do that, it means that she gets to try to make you out to be some sort of a monster. Like that lady that Chloe Roma was posting about, and I posted about. Why didn't I post up a picture of her? Because she's blonde-haired and blue-eyed and scrawny. You know the type. Entitled and fucking bitchy. I dress like a slut and people look at me like I'm a slut. I dress like I'm going to a dinner party. People look at me like I'm going to a dinner party. But I'm still going to pretend they're looking at me like I'm a slut, like I'm a piece of meat. You have no idea what goes through men's minds. You've already assigned to us perversion. Did your house get built off of his penis? Did his penis design that? Or construct it? No, it took his brains and his hands. His hard work, his labor, his money. That's because he values you as a human being, but you're not valuing him very much, are you? You are devaluing him as a human being. You are devaluing every male on the planet. And you want to pretend that it's not sexist or that every man deserves it. No. Nora Vincent tried living as a man for a year. Just like with Natalie Bollinger, she ended her life with the assistance of someone else. Natalie Bollinger wanted to punish me not just for telling the truth, but for showing the truth, and that includes in her words. Her words. That's why she was so heavily invested in calling it slander. And trying to tell you I was mentally ill and don't listen to me. She's trying to fix this. Oh, she didn't try to fix it. What she tried to do is make all of her predators happy by destroying me. By destroying my life or any chances I had at a decent life. By trying to frame me for murder. Then again, there's also the chance that Joseph Michael Lopez took her as a target of opportunity. That he gave her the drugs she wanted, raped her, and then shot her in the head. You know, when I think about Leslie Snell and her husband and her daughters, you know what it goes through my head? What goes through my head is that if somebody chooses to do that to Leslie Snell, what's that going to do to her daughters and her husband? But did her husband ever once stop to think about me when he and his brother and Chris Kurth worked together to try to threaten me and harass me and intimidate me into leaving town? Was Clinton Snell really involved in that, or is that just a name that his brother dropped? By the way, I thought his brother was a Frericks at the time. The fact that he dropped Clinton Snell's name really throws up a lot of red flags, especially knowing now that that's Clinton Snell's brother. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Sometimes that requires pissing people off. If you've ever watched the movie Founding Fathers, you might recognize this quote. We're in a war, damn it! We're gonna have to offend somebody. So, it's not a matter of wanting Leslie Snell dead. I absolutely don't. It's a matter of her own stupidity putting her life at risk from my predators. Or anybody in her life who might choose to take her as a target of opportunity. Lynn Paul and Leslie Paul are twins, just like Natalie and Alicia were. Also very pretty. Also very promiscuous. At least Lynn was. She was also a cheerleader. That's right. When I tried out for cheerleading, Leslie had quit cheerleading, but Lynn was still cheerleading. It was her last year. Lynn and Leslie Paul are both older than me. When I think to myself, Clinton Snell wanted me killed, but he literally lives across the street. His children play with whose children? Robert Franklin Warnick, the sexual predator. Registered sex offender in the state of Nebraska. Also, Nicole Knudsen doesn't think that it's okay for Dallas Richmond to have Mark Richmond around his children, and I wholeheartedly agree. After what he did to Brittany, you kidding me? I wouldn't trust him around children ever. Now, why is it that these people have actually been charged with these crimes, and I've never been charged with any such thing? Natalie Bollinger never claimed that we dated, and I never claimed that we dated. She never claimed we had sex. I never claimed we had sex. She never claimed I molested her. I never claimed I molested her. Same with Alicia Bollinger. The things that they tried to use to pretend that I was stalking them were all things that I was asked to do, or issues from a broken vehicle and being dehydrated. My paperwork at the hospital from when I was in Virginia, when I finally got my car back from Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett and was able to get it actually fixed and up and running again because it had that steering wheel issue. I found my paperwork. It was in desperate need of being dried out, but other than that, it was my hospital paperwork from the hospital in Chesapeake, Virginia. I've shown it a few times on my channel here. It shows that I was dehydrated. They came in and changed the bag at least once that I remember. And also, when the therapist lady came in, there was a lady who came in and she just kind of pinched the bag to see. I don't know what she was doing. I'm not a nurse or a nurse's aide or a nurse's assistant or anything like that. You guys got your own narrative about the story. You don't bother to find out what happened and when and why. You just chose somebody that it's easy to victimize and you just kept at it. Even with all of the overwhelming evidence that I told the truth, it doesn't matter because you pick and choose little bits and pieces that you can use out of context. And of course, what did the cops do? Made sure I couldn't go to court. I literally had to break the law in August of 2018 to try to get someone to do something about the threats and harassment, intimidation, assaults, not just against me, but against others. I got Sarah Bacon recorded on my channel talking about her friends and family being threatened, her children being threatened, my little sister talking about her children being threatened. Marcia Estrada talking about being aware of the situation before she met me because of her other clients. No matter what, though, there's always some excuse to look the other way. The crimes committed against me by police and by the public because my name was slandered by Natalie Bollinger and her friends and family. That's horrible. Natalie Bollinger never, ever accused me of raping her or molesting her. She never once accused me of any such thing, and neither did Alicia. They just lied because they were embarrassed and claimed that I stalked them, and the rest is fucking history. Maddie Boa went to fucking town spreading rumors that I threatened to kill Natalie and Alicia in Virginia. And the rumors only got worse from there. And no, people weren't fucking nice about it. It took me, I believe, 3 days to get back to Boulder from Virginia. And my first day back in Boulder, I was excited to be back in Boulder. And then I ran into people threatening me my first day back. Over shit that Maddie Boa fucking said. I did get a hold of Maddie Boa. A lot of people pretend that the stuff that I typed at Natalie Bollinger, that you guys want to pretend meant that I was in love with her, and it was all because she wouldn't let me touch her vagina. No, she thought she was in love with me. I wasn't interested in her vagina. I'm not interested in any orifice with fucking slime. Slime is gross. Noses are gross. Eyes are gross. Mouths are gross. Buttholes are gross. Penises are gross. Vaginas are gross. They're all gross. It's all gross to me. It's gross. It's fucking gross. You're swamping snot, for fucking Christ's sake. It's gross. Plus, with the sexual experiences that I had as a kid, and then being locked up with a lot of girls and women and boys and men who had been molested when they were younger, or even more recently, many of the people I was locked up with, they were locked up because they tried to tell on somebody for raping or molesting them or beating on them, and that person was a parent, and the cop locked up the kid and took the kid away. All the parent had to say is mentally ill. When the kid is abused to the point that they want their life to end, you want to lock them up on suicidal ideations instead of do your job as a mandated fucking reporter? You goddamn pieces of shit. You know why those girls cut on themselves? It's because you're not fucking listening. Which is my biggest fucking gripe too, isn't it?